Director, of course, of the National Economic Council. Larry, welcome back.
Thank you, Kelly.
Let me start with whether we're going to have another relief bill, as I like to call it, on the COVID front. It does seem, to quote a lot of the D.C. people we talked to yesterday, they said, listen, with how vicious this fight over the Supreme Court seat is going to be, there's no way Congress is going to compromise on this bill now. Do you think that analysis is right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of it. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, so it's not necessarily a given. But look, as you just heard Secretary Mnuchin, it's important from the administration, from the president's standpoint, we have been asking for 5 or 6 assistance programs. I don't think the V-shaped recovery depends on the package, but I do think a targeted package could be a great help. In shorthand, we call it kids and jobs. We wanted additional funds, for example, I believe $105 billion, Kelly, all along, to help open the schools. Any costs that are necessary for safety and security to help open the schools, which is absolutely vital for education, for psychology, for the economy. Second, we've also wanted to extend the assistance plan, the PPP plan, to small businesses. I mean, we actually had money, I don't know, it's over $100 billion that could be repurposed to go back into that plan. I think the plan was very effective. I think it did save perhaps 50 million jobs, and I think it's helping folks get back to work, better unemployment numbers than we suspected. So those are just 2 items. There are other items that we were happy to look at, but unfortunately we couldn't reach agreement with the other side. And so that was before the judicial issues came up. So I'm just saying, I don't think one depends on the other. I just think we were at a stalemate, and I wish we could break the stalemate, because even though I think the economy is improving nicely, it could use help in some key targeted places.
Larry, what do you think the macro impact is going to be? Let's say the Supreme Court seat is filled in the next couple of months by Republicans. What is the market's impact? What is the economic impact likely to be over the next 5, 10, 15 years, do you think?
Well, that's a hard question, Kelly. I mean, I think you're going to get a conservative jurist. I think that the president is acting correctly with the Senate Leader McConnell. I don't know. I mean, in economic terms, I don't want to go too deep into this. I'm not a judicial Supreme Court expert. I'm just saying in economic terms, I think of, when I look at these nominees for the court, I think of regulatory actions, which come up quite a bit. And I think, as you know, I prefer a lighter touch, a lighter foot on regulatory actions, especially economic regulations. Now, that has been the trend. As you know, the Trump administration has pushed very hard to roll back onerous regulations along with tax cuts, and it's given us tremendous prosperity. So I'm going to assume that the nominee, whoever he or she may be, will continue a lighter touch on regulation. Doesn't mean no regulation. It just means a lighter touch, maybe more sensitivity to business, jobs, and the economy. But that's as far as it would go. I don't think that's going to be a dominant factor in the outlook for the economy over the next longer run.
No, although I take your point that it could take some time to play out. So let me shift back to what looms for the next couple of months. We have not just the kind of need to extend some kind of relief program, and as you've indicated, you guys are looking maybe to some targeted programs, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. I don't know whether that could advance, but we also need to those CR bills, just the idea of funding the government and keeping it open. Can you explain kind of the politics of this? I mean, which of these are bargaining chips? Is everything on the table now? Or are we going to be able to see kind of those issues dealt with, and then the Supreme Court and other things as a separate fight?
Well, I would say separate tracks, Kelly. In other words, the CR, which is necessary to keep the government open, I think Speaker Pelosi and Secretary Mnuchin decided several weeks ago that would be a clean bill. It would not affect or include any of the potential targeted assistance plans for the broader CARES Act 3, 4, whatever CARES Act we're on. So I think that runs a separate track. I think there's a broad agreement developing on the CR, but it's not completed yet. There are still some matters that are up for grabs. I don't want to interfere with those negotiations. I don't want to speculate. But the CR is to keep the government open. I believe they agreed to mid-December. I think that's what the push is. So that's a good thing. Nobody wants a government shutdown if we can avoid it. That is a separate action from the stimulus conversation, and that's a separate action from the judicial conversation.